Back to our main story now, and the relief effort in Haiti appears to be picking up pace. Professor Edward Blakely is a disaster recovery expert who's currently based at the US Study Centre in Sydney.
He played a key role in the recovery effort after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, and he joins us now. Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us on ABC News Breakfast. Just give us a few impressions, if you can, first of all, just looking at the situation in Haiti as you're seeing it in the news and on the media, and the last 7 days of response. How would you rate it so far?
Well, it's very difficult because the infrastructure was so poor there to start with.
Yeah.
I think the U.S. and the UN are doing a good job in getting relief there. Now, distributing it is the problem because of the chaos in the country. And we have to think about recovery right now. You don't wait until this is over, because what will happen is people start occupying areas that you want to do recovery villages in, where you want to store food and things like this. So the recovery effort has to start right now.
This morning, our main angle on the story is that aid is starting to flow in big volumes. It's a week since the earthquake happened. Are you surprised that it's taken that long before we start reporting that?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Think about Katrina, and this is in the richest country in the world. It took longer than that. So, and, well,
yes,
the government was slow.
Yeah, exactly.
In that response.
That was a major problem, that it took that long.
It was a major problem. But even if the government had acted very fast, it would have taken about this long. Because you are not, we don't have disaster preparedness agencies and organizations ready to flow. You have to organize that in your home country. If you're going to give some aid, you have to organize your troops and so forth. They have other things they're doing. And just to move them, you know, it's like going on a family picnic. It takes a while to get everybody together. So I'm not surprised by this. The thing I am surprised by this is that we're surprised. We know that this is the earthquake belt, etc. There's an agency in CARICOM and the like that should have been pre-positioned, knowing where aid stations are and the like, to move in there very quickly.
I guess a part of that surprise, though, surely must be that because there's been aid and aid agencies and peacekeepers present in Haiti for so long now, that you think, notwithstanding that they were affected by the earthquake as well, that they would still then be in position for some kind of swift response for that recovery that you speak about now.
Well, they weren't coordinated. They were there, but you have to coordinate a response like this. Yeah. They were delivering health care and various kinds of things. Those things were disrupted. They had to go back to their home agencies in order to get new instructions and to get new supplies and the like. So it does take about this amount of time. And I think they're doing a good job considering the fragile infrastructure in the country.
US Army officials are apparently now considering airdrops of food to the different areas rather than trying to get them out in convoys. There's the obvious problem there of chaos. Well, there's chaos with either scenario, really. But do you see airdrops as the only real option at this stage?
Well, if they're going to be airdrops, you have to drop to locations that are already secure. If not, you're going to have pandemonium. So the airdrops will have to be into secure areas. And looking at the maps and things like this, I saw areas where you could do airdrops, and not too far from the airfield, not too far from other infrastructure. Okay. You drop in there, but you'd already have troops there. You'd have a distribution there, and then the people would go to it.
Now, talk to us a little bit more then, if you can, about the recovery that needs to happen quickly, that you don't wait for. What do you mean by that? What form does that take?
Well, as you may know, I got to Katrina 2 years after the event. By that time, things were set in motion. They had a recovery program for housing and things like this that didn't work. Had I been there earlier, we could have designed things that work. And so what happens during the recovery, and there are very few people like myself who know how to do this, people rush to give emergency aid, and then you go back and you say, wait a minute, they're using that ball field that we need now for a little village. And the way you do recovery is you put people back into villages, away from their home village, and get them to help restore their village. So you make a village outside of town, you say this is St. Whatever. The people from St. Whatever all go there. They're fed, clothed. You train them on how to build their own dwellings. We now have mobile houses that you can put together. You know, we've done this here in Victoria, and that's the kind of aid we should be sending. How do we do the Victorian fire? So the people who did that would be great in Haiti.
The only thing is, with this situation, is the scale. You're talking about millions of people.
It is. But it is a scale problem. We do know how to do it, and that has to be done.
What about issues when you talk about the failing infrastructure of Haiti, even to begin with, but before the earthquake struck that area, when you have villages, far-flung villages and towns that we know have been terribly affected by this earthquake, but we simply can't get to because of impassable roads and roads that were poor to begin with in the first place. Does that sort of infrastructure targeting, does that need to be a main priority too? How quickly do you get onto that? How do you get that done within the chaos?
Well, what you do is, just like a military operation, you take your experts, you fly them in, you know, bring them in helicopters and so forth, establish your position, begin to build some infrastructure. We have portable infrastructure now. We have portable tanks. We have portable housing, and you start putting that thing together now.
Just quickly and finally, Ed Blakely, then, do you want to forecast for us how long this reconstruction might take in a place like Haiti, devastated as it is?
If you're talking about the rebuilding of the city and so forth, 20-plus years.
And that requires international presence for a lot of that time, doesn't it?
No, I think they'll be able to, the government will be able to get on its feet in about 5 or 6 years,
right.
And then the international will be able to use the government as a conduit.
Really good to talk to you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.